I finished the harvest very soon this year. It was exceptional. 2020, it's exceptional because we started the harvest the 20 August.
And I heard the yields were down quite a bit because of the dry weather and hot weather during the summer.
Unfortunately, with the dryness during the summer, we lost 50% of the crop. It's a very low yield, but the quality is exceptional. Certainly close to 16 with a high concentration, very beautiful, high alcohol potential, but with a lot of acidity.
Listen, I wanted to also ask you about the 2018 vintage, what your impressions were for both white and red. You know, I tasted yours, I liked them very much, and tasted a number of other well-known producers and négociants. What's your impression of 2018?
18 was a very nice vintage, and I love this vintage because all the condition was really perfect with us. If you remember, the winter was cloudy, but with a lot of rain, twice than a normal year, and that's permit to have a lot of water in the dams, in the soil, and the soil in Burgundy is rich in clay. And after that, it was nice because the spring arrived sooner as usual. The flowering period was really perfect. We had a lot of a beautiful flowering period, but June, July was so hot with a lot of sun. In average, we have plus 2 degrees Celsius than a normal year. 300 hours more on sun. It's exceptional. It's a Côte d'Azur weather in Burgundy, and that's permit to reach very, very high maturity and high concentration. Alors, it's 18 was a normal crop. There is no problem for the estate. I produce for the red wine an average 40 hectoliters for the red wine. For the Pinot Noir, that's perfect. And Chardonnay was a little more generous with 45 hectoliters per hectare.
So I have your Merceau Genévrier, which I tasted and I liked, and I thought I would taste it again. What do you like about the whites? They seem quite open.
But the white in 18, it's personally, I think it's very close to 15 because it was a generous year with a lot of sun. It's a really expressive vintage, and that's permit to have, and especially for the Genévrier, the estate will have a 2 hectare 0.6, and on the Genévrier du Dessus, it's a very well exposure plot. And January, I started the harvest with Les Genévrières, and in this plot, it's a true Genévrier with a lot of density, generosity in the mouth, with a lot of honey on the almond notes, some white flower. But after that, I have a second plot more higher in altitude. On the soil, it's more rich in limestone, and that's permit to have more acidity. And when I blend together the two plots, that's permit to have a very well balanced Genévrier, not too large, but with more elegance, more citrus notes.
Yeah, I like that. The attack has lots of pretty ripe fruit, but then it finishes firm and fresh with a nice sort of chalky character. The other wine I chose from the 18, so you can talk about the reds. I took your Chambertin Clos de Bez, which is always a great wine. But what were your thoughts about the 2018 reds in general?
Alors, for the red wine, for the Pinot Noir, I think it was important to start it soon, the harvest. I started the 30 August, and to maintain a good balance and the freshness, because I'm not a big fan of over maturity. I prefer to have a beautiful grapes and to respect the fruitiness. The most important for me is to respect the terroir. And after that, I just adapt the style of the vinification, because in 18, when I taste the berries, the skin was thick with a lot of color, a beautiful tannin, but I observe a lot of seed, of pips. That's why I prefer to reduce the maceration. It was an infusion I never racking the wine. I just punch the cap just at the end, but it's really an infusion during 14, 15 days, not more. And I wait, and when the wine, the terroir appear, it was perfect to racking it and to put it in barrels.
So also you sent some 2015, which
Yes.
which is exciting, and I tasted earlier the Chevalier Montrachet. Tell us a little bit about the 2015 vintage and why you wanted me to taste these wines.
Alors, 15 for me, it's one of the most perfect vintage. The weather condition was just absolutely great. The winter was not so cold. The spring arrived sooner. And during the spring and the summer, it was a hot and a sunny summer. But each time at the end of the month, there is some rain. And that's permit for the vineyard to grow very, very well and to reach a high maturity. And I remember in 15, the grape was absolutely perfect. There is no disease. All the grape was nice and beautiful. And I love 15 for the expression, the expression of the terroir, and with a high maturity. And but the most important in 15 is the generosity.
The Chevalier Montrachet is it's very intense, but at the same time, it's not heavy. You know, it's if you closed your eyes, it's structured like a red wine almost, because of it has such a beautiful, you know, center palate, and with a very great density. Pretty extraordinary wine.
And Chevalier Montrachet, it's alors the philosophy of Bouchard is to express the terroir, and also we love the delicacy and the freshness in our white. And but the Chevalier, it's a terrific terroir for me. Bouchard is a major owner of Chevalier. We have in totally 2.3 hectares, but only Bouchard is owner on the 4 terraces. And I harvest and I vinificate separately each terraces. And I think it was the most important, because each terraces is a true character.
Fantastic wine. And then the other wine you sent was the Bon Claude de la Mousse.
Yes.
2015.
Alors le Claude de la Mousse, it's a monopoly of Bouchard.
Yeah.
Totally, we have 3 hectares, and it's a Beaune Premier Cru. And I love this part because it's the soil is rich in clay, very dense clay, and in this part of the vineyard, the vineyard never suffer of dryness, of the drought. That permits to reach high maturity with a beautiful fruit, but without hydric stress. And every year, the Beaune Claude de la Mousse, it's a very appealing wine with a lot of beautiful red fruit, with sucrosity, delicate tannin.
The tannins really have this almost tile, dry clay-like dusty character to it.
Yeah.
It's very distinctive.
Yeah. It's a true Beaune Premier Cru, and I love the fruitiness and the expression, and the aging potential of the Claude de la Mousse is just huge.
Of all of your like top wines, let's say Grand Cru, Premier Cru, Lourdes, and Village, what percentage do you make from your own vineyards that you own, your domains? Because sometimes people forget that you're a very large holder. Yeah, Bouchard Père.
Yeah, exactly. The estate of Bouchard, it's 130 hectares. It's unique, but it's come from the Gevrey-les-Castiers to the Montrachet, and only in Côte d'Or, Côte de Nuit, and Côte de Beaune. And I have more than 100 different Premier Cru and Grand Cru, and it's certainly the most beautiful collection of terroir in Burgundy. We have the Échouveau, the Clos Vougeot, les Chambertin, les Bonnemar, le Montrachet, le Corton, les Corton Charlemagne. And for me and my team, it's unique to have the ability to vinificate so different terroirs and to see the difference.
And I like the fact that your wines have I think they have a tendency to be, they have a nice firmness to them and good energy with tannin and acidity. Let's say more classic style. And I really appreciate that. It's, you know, I think that that's really good. And the wines are very transparent. There's not really a house style. It's really more the expression of the vineyards you're working with.
Merci beaucoup.
Well, listen, thank you very much for the conversation and also the tasting. I really enjoyed it. And also, as always, learning more about how you're making your wines and your amazing vineyard holdings. And look forward to the next tasting then.
Thanks
OK, à bientôt. Merci.
À bientôt, oui, avec plaisir. Au revoir.
Merci.